Week 6 for beginner stretch, winter 2022 edition. No particular theme for this one. What's starting sitting? I guess the theme is just beginners. Today I have a pillow for underneath my hips because I've been having some knee issues the last little while. And I forgot how good this feels. Sometimes it's just nice. Sitting on top of the hips, crossing the legs, or you can sit on a chair. I'm also going to wear my sweater for the first little bit. Not to turn the heat down, because who can afford these Alberta prices? It's 2022 prices, realistically. Just coming into a little bit of meditation. Hands on the knees, backs of the hands on the knees, palms facing up. And just breathe. Using both hips to ground down into the mat or chair or pillow, whichever you're on. Using that pressure, that force to lift your spine up. Same way you do when you're stepping up out of a chair, you press down with your feet in order to stand. Pressing down with the hip bones. Lift the spine, lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And just coming into practice for today. Coming to a moment just for you, a moment of rest, a moment for me. Noticing any tension, noticing any spots that might be a little bit sore, tired, hot, cold, itchy. And then trying to let it go just for an hour. Or let it go for a minute. Then another minute if you can. And maybe a couple more minutes after that. Don't have to commit to the full hour right away, just a little bit at a time, see what you can do. And we'll start to take bigger inhales through the nose, exhales out the mouth, big sighs. So inhale in. Exhale, sigh. Big inhale through the nose, feel your whole lower abdominals. And sigh. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. And then starting to focus in on those core contractions in the abdominals. Now we're using the muscles. Trying to focus in on using belly button, pulling the belly button in towards your lower spine and just feeling the core push that last bit of air out. So inhale in through the nose. Exhale out. A little core contraction right at the end. Big inhale in through the nose. And exhale to blow out the candle. Core contraction. Inhale in. Exhale, candle. And starting to open and close the hands as we do. Inhale, open the fingers wide. Blow out the candle as you make fists. Feel the abs, feel the power at the end of your breath. Inhale, open the fingers. Exhale out. Clench your fists, little squeeze. One more big inhale in. Spread the fingers wide. Exhale, blow out the candle, make fists, feel your abs. And then release the hands, release the fingers, maybe give them a little shake. And we'll inhale, lift the arms up, overhead. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Inhale, in through the nose, lift the arms, lift the hands. Exhale out the mouth, hands come down to the mat. One more big inhale, reach. Maybe look up at the nose. Exhale, hands come down. Right hand to the mat. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Keep your left hip very much grounded down onto the ground. Inhale to switch, left hand to the mat, reach the right arm up. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Right hip grounded down. Inhale, switch, left arm up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, switch, right hand up. Exhale, side bend to the left. Remember, try to reach up and over like you're reaching on top of the counter. Inhale, one more time. Left hand up, reach up and over on top of the counter. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale on top of that counter on the left side. Inhale, up through center, both arms up. Exhale, both hands down, big arm circle. Exhale. Inhale, lift both arms up. Your spine tall. Exhale, twist to the right. Left hand coming to the top of the right knee. Right hand coming behind you. Look over your right shoulder if you can. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to the left. Looking over left shoulder. Inhale to center. Spine is very, very tall. Stretch out the vertebrae. Exhale, twist to the right. Remembering to use your abdominals to try to guide this movement, not using the back. Inhale to left. Oh, inhale to center. Exhale to left, twist. One more each way. Inhale, get long. Exhale, stay long as you twist. Inhale through center, get long. Exhale, stay long, twist left. Inhale to center. Exhale, both arms down, big arm circle. And if you're sitting with crossed legs, we'll switch the cross of the legs or ankles, whichever one was on top, put it underneath. Totally normal to be a little lopsided. I am definitely lopsided. You might be able to tell my left knee is way higher than my right, no matter which way I am crossed. Inhale, lift both arms up. Exhale, bring the arms to a T. Palms facing down. Inhale, really reach through your fingers as though you're going to try and touch the wall on either side of you. Exhale, bring your shoulders back and down. Inhale, find that reach through the fingers, lift in the spine. And on your exhale, bring your right hand to the back of your head, left hand to your lower back. They don't have to touch. Inhale to T. Exhale, left hand to the back of your head, right hand to your lower back. Yes, that is correct. I said the right thing. Inhale to T. Exhale, right hand up, left hand down. So if you're not touching it, that's totally okay. We're just getting the flow. Inhale to reach. Exhale, left hand up, right hand down. Oop, that's behind my head. There we go. Inhale, reach one more time each way. Exhale, right hand behind the head, left hand behind the lower back. Inhale to reach. Exhale, left hand behind head, right hand behind lower back. Inhale to the T again. And exhale, let the arms come down. Bringing your right ear to right shoulder, this time just trying to reach like into a hole in the ground with your left arm. Just try and get that shoulder down. Get a little bit of tension in this left arm, just bringing that shoulder down, getting a little extra stretch in the left side of the neck. If you need a little more, you can lift your right hand up very gently, set it on top of the head here. Not putting a lot of pressure, not pulling. Release the right hand, release the tension in the left arm, float your head back up through neutral, and then very gently take it to the other side, left ear to left shoulder, reach into a hole in the ground with your right arm. Looking for worms now. We already had cookies, now we want worms. Lift your left hand if you need to. You don't have to, just put a little extra weight on top of the head here. Little extra stretch for the right side. And then releasing the left hand. Let go of the tension in the right side shoulder. Float your head back up to neutral. And right ear to right shoulder again, this time half circles for the neck. Just moving slowly, bringing one ear to one shoulder and then rolling through to the other side. You do not have to breathe a certain pattern when doing this one. Whatever breath makes you comfortable. And then coming back to center, this time keeping your chin tucked in towards your chest. Sorry, this is the quarter roll. Halfway through the half roll, the quarter roll. Chin tucking into the chest. Nose pointing down, stretching out the back of the head. If you want to, you can lift your hands. Again, put them very, very gently on the back of the head. No need to pull, just a little extra weight. And then release the hands if they were there. And very slowly lifting one vertebrae at a time. Keep your chin tucked in for a moment. Till you can't lift anymore, and then lift the nose. Look all the way up. Or 3/4 of the way up, or way up. You don't look all the way up. Don't ruin the back of your neck. Just lift your chin a little. Chin up, buttercup. And then tuck your chin in again. Lift one vertebrae at a time. Keep your chin tucked in. Lift your nose a little bit. Tuck your chin in again. Let your head come all the way down. Last one here. And then lift each vertebrae one at a time. Lift the nose, coming back up to neutral. Big inhale in through the nose. Lift the arms. Bring the palms together. Exhale. Bring the hands to the heart. And we'll move off of our pillow or chair, coming to all fours. I have many pillows today, and it makes me very happy. Sweater, so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. Just coming to stretch the calves first, right foot back. Static stretch, just holding, or dynamic if you want to saw a little back and forth, coming in and out of the stretch, whichever version you feel most comfortable with, whatever you feel like your body responds to more. If you're really, really, really tight and it's kind of painful to get into that stretch, maybe coming in and out of it can help it relax a little easier. And then trying to spike that heel down towards the mat. Lift the back of the knee. Yup. Keep that knee straight. And then slowly bend it. Try and keep your heel tilted back. Try and get your knee down to the mat. It might not. And release, coming back to all fours. We'll take the left side. Stretching the calf first. Whichever version of stretch you enjoy. Keeping that left knee straight, as straight as possible. Maybe sawing a little back and forth. Feeling a little popping maybe in that ankle. Oops. And lift the back of the knee. Try and spike the heel down towards the mat. Really get that stretch with a straight knee first. And then slowly bend the knee. Try and bring it down towards the mat if you can. You might feel this more in your foot than anything too. Totally fair. And then coming up out of that stretch. Ooh. Maybe wiggle the hips. Look behind you at your left hip. Hello. Look behind you at your right hip. Hello. Look at the left hip again. It's still there. Look at the right hip. Yes, they match. Left hip again. Love the number 3. And right hip again. And back to center. A couple of cat cows. Inhale to drop your belly button down towards the ground. Tilt your pelvis so that your butt looks up. Lift your nose. Exhale. Use your exhale to bring your belly button up. Pelvis tucks under. Head comes under. Shoulders press away from the mat. Imagine your shoulder blades are sliding around on either side of your ribs. Inhale. Bring the shoulder blades back and together as we bring the belly down again for cow. Coming for our face curve. Exhale. Lead with the core. Maybe blowing out that candle. Just clearly I love it. Pelvis tucks under. Head comes under last. One more time. Finding that ripple in the spine. Pelvis tilting first. Sticking that butt out. And comes up, nose lifts very gently. Exhale, coming to cat back. Just a reminder, I don't appear to have a lot of movement in my upper spine, so a true rounded back will be a little more forward rather than this is what happens to me. I end up in the middle. Like an actual cat, you normal people will have a more upper back curve. Not so the me. Okay. Inhale, the right arm up. Exhale, bring back of right hand towards lower back. You know this flow by now. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, dive it underneath left armpit. Inhale, lift left arm up. Exhale, bring the back of your left hand towards your lower back. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, left hand to the mat. Unraveling yourself. Inhale, right arm all the way up. Exhale, back of right hand towards lower back. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, hand to the mat. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, back of left hand towards lower back. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, dive it under. I'm a really short all fours today for some reason. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right back of hand to lower back. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right hand to the mat. Unwind as we lift left hand up. Exhale, back of left hand towards lower back. Inhale, left hand up. Exhale to the right. Walking back to sit on your heels. Toes can curl under, or you can have your feet flat, whatever is more comfortable for you. Just a couple of shoulder circles here. And we're going to come to standing for a little standing flow. If you prefer to stay on the ground for hamrocks and the hip flexor stretches, if you feel more stable on the ground, you can absolutely do them whichever mat version you want, with hands, without hands. The standing version is going to have a little bit of extra movements to it, so try if you can. Make your way standing however you feel like it. I'm going to do one of these. You need to hold on to something. Sometimes I do too. It happens. All right. You should be roughly at the back of your mat. We're going to be stepping forward into our lunges and then stepping back. The right foot first. Inhale, step forward to your lunge position. Lift the arms up. Stretching left hip flexor. Hands to the waist. If you're here, straighten the front knee. Exhale, bend forward. Bring the right hip back. Right hamstring stretch. Bend the front knee, lift the arms, inhale, left hip flexor stretch. Exhale, shift your weight, or shift your right hip back, straighten the right knee, lean forward, right hamstring stretch. Bend the front knee, inhale, reach the arms. Straighten the front knee, exhale. Ooh, hamstring stretch. And the front knee, inhale, reach. And on your exhale, step it back. If you need to hold on to something while doing that, totally fair. Oh, arms relaxed. There we go. Left side, stepping forward just to your easy lunge position. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, hands to the hips if you're here. Straighten the front knee. Bend forward. Really rotate that pelvis as though you want to stick your butt out. Bend the front knee, inhale, reach the arms up, right hip flexor stretch. Exhale, straighten the front knee, pull the left hip back, left hamstring stretch. Your front knee, inhale, reach the arms. Straighten your front knee, pull the left hip back, hamstring stretch. And the front knee, inhale, reach. And on your exhale, step back. If you need to make your stance a little bit shorter in order to do that step back, absolutely, make it as short as you need to. Right foot, step forward into your lunge, inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale, come into lunge, reach the arms up. Exhale, step back. Oh, and let the arms go, forgot about that. Left foot, step forward, inhale to your lunge. Exhale, hamstring stretch. And the front knee, inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, step it back. Hands come down. Hands can also come to the waist first, if you need to. One more round, just like that. Right foot forward, inhale, reach. Exhale, right hip back, straighten the front knee, hamstring stretch. And the front knee, inhale, reach to your high lunge. Exhale, step it back. Arms down. Left foot step forward. Inhale, reach into your lunge. Exhale, straighten the front knee, bend it forward, hinging at the hips, hamstring stretch. Bend the front knee, inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, step back. Arms down. Maybe a couple shoulder circles here, maybe a few hip circles if you need them. Hip circles. There we go. And then hip circle the other way if you were doing any kind of circle. It's just helpful. Now, we're going to go from the back of the mat to the front of the mat and then reverse. All right, so right foot steps forward into our high lunge. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, coming into our hamstring stretch. We're pulling that right hip back. Bend the front knee, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, step forward. Tadasana at the front-ish of the mat. Arms down. Back the same way we came. Left foot comes back, stepping into your high lunge. Inhale, reach the arms up. Or warrior one, because my back foot is flat. You can absolutely be up on your toes, make it an actual high lunge. Inhale, reach the arms. Straighten the front knee, exhale, right hamstring stretch. Helps when I know what I'm doing. Bend the front knee, inhale, reach the arms up. This time we're gonna step back. And let the arms come down. If you're getting any knee pain on the back leg when you're stepping in, make your stance a little bit shorter. Left foot coming forward now. Left foot steps forward into your warrior one or high lunge position, depending on if that back foot, if you're up on the toes or flat, with the toes pointing out at a bit of a diagonal. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, straighten the front knee, come into your hamstring stretch. Your core engaged. Bend the front knee, inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, step forward. Arms can come down. Right foot stepping backwards, coming back into our lunge position on the left side. Left foot is forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, coming into hamstring stretch. And the front knee, inhale, reach the arms up. And stepping it backwards on the exhale. Arms down. There we go. Coming back just to our regular standing position. Bring the arms up, inhale. Use your right hand to grab left wrist, side bend over to the left. If you need to push your hips out to the left, you absolutely can. Or just try and do just a tiny little stretch here. Little side bend, trying to focus on keeping the scapulae and upper body as the primary stretch position here. If you can come all the way over to the side, fantastic, but I do not expect that of you. I don't have to expect that. croissant. That's release the arms. Inhale, reach them up again. This time, left hand grabs right wrist. Do this because I'm out of frame, as usual. Side bend over to the left. Try and keep it in the upper back if you can. You need to push the hips out a bit to the right. You absolutely can. You don't have to. Inhale to stretch the arms up. Exhale, release. This time with the teapot, right hand onto your hip. Inhale, left hand up. And this time we're going to come into a little bit more of that side bend. So use your right hand to support yourself. Maybe push the hips out for a little T. Try not to spill the tea, but pour the tea. You come up a little bit, open up your left palm towards the ceiling. Maybe look up if it feels okay in the neck and shoulder. That's going to be a little bit more in the front side rather than the back of the stretch. And the palm under again, and come all the way up. Left hand towards your hip. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, pour the tea on the left. The other cup that's on the counter. I mean, if you spill a little bit, that's fine. Maybe push the hips out to the right if it feels okay, but you don't have to. This is just for stability. And then open up your left palm towards the ceiling. Open up that shoulder, maybe look up. And the palm under again. Inhale to come up. Exhale, let the right arm down. We'll take the legs a little bit wider and turn your feet out at a 45-degree angle. If that feels okay, if it feels better for your hips and your knees to have your feet pointing a little bit more forward, you absolutely can. Me, I have wonky knees, so I like to have mine out a little bit more. Makes it just a little bit easier. So from here, awkward goblin asana. If you like it, if you don't, you can absolutely skip it. I've just decided that this is hilarious and I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. So if you want to, you can come into the dancer's stretching position that we did in a previous class. Hands just above the joints of the knees. If you have the leg strength, if you are able to keep yourself up here, or you can sit on a coffee table so that you're in this relative position and using right hand first to press away. So we're going to be opening up that inner thigh on the right side. This right shoulder is going to roll in. So my elbow, the back of the elbow is right here. And it's going to be pointing up at the ceiling now. And switch. Or if this feels okay, if you are able to get into this position, whether you're sitting on your coffee table, on a couch, on a chair, standing, if this feels all right, and take this version. If this version is not working for you, come down to your awkward goblin. Yep, there we go. Coming in to settle in with the knees bent and as wide as you can get them. So they might not be perfect. They might be here. You might be just kind of squeezing your arms in between your legs. I'm still going to turn my feet out because of my wonky knees. You can absolutely keep yours pointing in, but just so you know, I have to turn mine out. I'm just trying to get the outer edge of your arm on the inside, just again, right above that knee joint. And just giving yourself a little bit of pressure, maybe one leg at a time, maybe doing a little bit of a twist. If it feels okay for the back, if it feels okay for the hips to be here. Again, you can absolutely do this version sitting up on a pillow or a chair. Point is just to try to open up these inner thighs a little bit, one side at a time. Keeping your spine long and tall. You don't want to hunch. Surprisingly, awkward goblins do not hunch. They have very straight spines, nice supported backs. They engage their abdominal muscles. They might be messy haired, but they are not sloppy when it comes to posture. Awkward goblins have to have something going for them, and it is definitely posture. So just switching back and forth, just trying to stretch out those tight adductor muscles. If your legs need to be out a little bit more, as well. Maybe your awkward goblin, your knees don't come up as high as my awkward goblin. That's okay. You can still use your forearms to press in on the inside of the thigh or that full shoulder. If you can do the full shoulder roll, no, that's a little awkward. Forearm. And then roll that shoulder in, a little bit of a twist. Keeping your abdominals very engaged, keeping your spine tall. If you are standing and you're still doing this, I'm very impressed. That is a lot of leg. Never skip leg day. All right. And then we'll relax. And we'll all come back down to the ground. I'm gonna move my pillow and I'm gonna shift my camera down, because then you can see me better. Now that the awkward goblin portion of class is sadly over. I know you're all gonna miss that so much. Oh no, oh sad. We're just gonna come to staff pose today. The staff pose is supposed to be both legs straight, spine straight. You are in L shape, 90-degree angles. If you're having trouble getting your knees down to the ground, grab a pillow. As long as you have something for the backs of your legs to ground down into, just the same way we use our hands, to press up off the floor. If we're going to come and stand, we're going to use the hamstrings, backs of the thighs, to really press down into the mat or your pillow in order to give you that lift in your spine. Engage your core. Belly button pulls back towards your lower spine. Chest, that little sternal notch, the little half circle here, lifts. Bring your hands just underneath hips. A little bit of pressure in the arms, a little bit of tension. Dropping the shoulders. And so the lift from the backs of the thighs and also the hands gives you that straight spine. If you need to grab 2 pillows, absolutely, grab a second pillow. You can have your legs as bent as you need, as long as you can press the back of your thigh into whatever surface this is. I don't recommend having feet on the ground and the legs just kind of free floating, because then you don't get that activation in the back of the legs. In our staff pose, just a few more deep breaths here. And really engage your whole hand. Use all of your fingers as though you're about to come into maybe an arm balance. The same way we do in all fours, where you really engage the whole hand, clawing the mat. We're going to engage all of these muscles so that we're not just using the palm. We do that here as well. As though you want to lift up your hips. You don't have to in this class. This is a beginner's class, but as though you wanted to lift up your hips, as though you're going to use your arms to do so. That's kind of the activation you want to have there. One more big breath here. And blow out the candle. And release the legs. We'll actually bend the knees and bring the knees into the chest. You can remove your pillow. Oh, if I can. Can I? That's always a question. And just come in. Bring your knees as close to your chest as you can. Lift your chest and then bring it in towards your knees. Hold your knees. Hug your knees. Little bit of a relaxation for the back. Let your head come down. If you want to grab your pillow and have it here for your head, you can do that too. Maybe make it a little nicer. That's up to you if you want it. You don't have to. And breathe. Let the back of your head, back of your neck relax. Slowly lifting the head up. One vertebrae at a time, and then lifting the nose at the last. We're going to come into a supported child's pose, which is definitely a more yin position. So if you want to grab multiple pillows, depends how much support you want for this one. Child's pose being, if you want just a regular child's pose, you can absolutely do just a regular child's pose here with the arms back. You can be either on the tops of the feet or curled under onto the toes. It's up to you. I'm going to grab all of my pillows. So if you have a bit of an issue bringing the hips down towards the heels, that's the first place a pillow can go. If it feels a little cranky for your quads, for your knees to stretch back that far, you can put a pillow here or a couch cushion so that your hips don't actually come all the way down. Your knees won't flex all the way. This is a small pillow. If I had a bigger pillow, I might be up here, and that would keep me still in a little bit of less of an angle for the knees. So that's an option. And then you can come forward, see if that feels okay for the back. And the other two pillows will be to come forward. So either on top of the thighs, you can tuck right in towards the hip crease and then lay yourself on top of this pillow here. And then my head's going to come down a little bit further, so I'm going to get a little more back of the neck, back of the upper back here. You can grab two pillows if you want. Really prop yourself up. That's always nice. And now my head's not going to come all the way down to the mat, but that's okay because I can still relax. Not necessarily a stretch, but it's a relaxed version of a stretch. So you won't technically feel the muscles being stretched out here, but they'll be in a position where they feel comfortable enough that they could get the benefit of stretching without overstretching. So if you're ever feeling like you're too tight to actually stretch, this is really good. All these pillows here. You can also turn one pillow lengthways back into hip crease. I have the second pillow. I'm going to put this one underneath here, just barely above my knees. Just another version. And then I can lift my chest, lay myself over top. Personally, I like this one because then my chin comes just over top of this lengthways pillow, and I still have this other one to catch my face. Breathe into your lower back, whichever version of child's pose you are in. With every exhale, every sigh out, try and imagine the muscles in your spine relaxing just an extra little bit, especially right in the lower back. If the shoulders are starting to bother you, you can actually bring your arms behind and either rest them palms facing up next to your hips, or you can bring them right behind your back, interlace your fingers, or grab one wrist, grab one palm. Just keep the shoulders back here. If you have upper back issues, upper back pain, sometimes this is better because those muscles don't want to stretch at all. And if you're comfortable here, you can stay here for a little while. If you want more of a shoulder stretch and your back can handle a little bit more, we'll come up. We'll move our pillows. We'll do heart to earth pose or puppy posture, one of those two. There we go. Perfect, that works. So knees will come underneath hips, knees will stay underneath hips, or rather hips will stay over top of knees. Walk the hands out and bring your heart towards the earth. So you're going to tilt your pelvis back, your butt is going to reach up towards the ceiling, and you're going to stretch the front of the shoulders This is going to be a lot of shoulder, a lot of upper back. Typically resting chin or face on floor. You can tilt your head up if you want to and have your head up like this. I find that uncomfortable, so I prefer to just face plant personally. Typically, we don't use pillows to prop up in this one. So if you're finding that this is a lot for you, you can bring your elbows, your forearms to a little bit more of a supported position and then just rock back. Arms and rock back. Won't come all the way down. Your face will not be fully planted on the mat. Forehead can rest. Reach your butt up towards the ceiling and then try and pull your hips. Just add a little extra weight in that direction. So butt is tilted up, but we're going to lean a little bit back. So just get a little extra pull in the shoulders. The hips are just going to take that weight. I'm moving like an inch. I'm going to curl my toes under because I feel like it. Letting your chest melt down towards your yoga mat. And then wherever you've ended up, whichever version you're in, we're going to very slowly engage the abs as we come out. And we're all going to end up face down into our popular planking position as they do on social media. So however you get to your face down position. And I'm going to move my pillows. Partly because they're blocking the heat. And I like the heat. Okay. Actually, drowning snow angel for the shoulders. So totally up to you. Again, if you want to rest your head down on the mat and have your fingers trail, have the hands trail as they come all the way back down to your sides. You can lift the head, reaching crown of head towards the wall in front of you. Which for me right now is the back of my mat, which is usually where my feet go, which is a little unsettling, but that's what showers are for. And bringing the hands back up. Again, hands can slide, hands can hover. If you want to lift up and practice locust, if you have locust in your practice, you absolutely can, but you don't need to. We're just going to mobilize the shoulders a bit. At least I'm feeling good about the fact that my foot sweat does not smell as bad as I thought it. So look at that. Learned something today and my self-esteem got a boost. One more round of drowning snow angel. We'll end with the arms above the head. Reach the arms in front of you, reach the feet behind you. And then bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And actually, we're gonna lift out I'm gonna do right arm because it's facing the camera. Palm facing down, stretch it out right to the side like a T. And then using your left hand from underneath your shoulder, bend your left knee and try and bring your left foot down towards the right side of your mat. You can use your left hand, give yourself a little bit of a push. Maybe that foot comes all the way down, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you don't actually use that knee. Just trying to open up right shoulder here. If you can get your left foot to touch the mat, it's a good stretch for the right shoulder. It might not have to. You might just cross left ankle over top of right ankle and then push yourself over into that little roll. That might be easier for you. Breathe into the front of the right shoulder. And then slowly unravel. Bring your left foot back down towards mat. Both hands underneath shoulders. Just find your positioning here. Get your elbows close towards your rib cage. and pull them back towards your feet. So preventing the shoulders from slouching forward, we're just activating shoulder blades, trying to pull elbows back. Stretch out your left arm 90 degrees if you don't have a wall there. If you do have a wall there, you can absolutely bend that elbow facing down. Similar thing. And you can either cross the right ankle over top of the left or bend the right knee and try and bring your foot all the way over to the side as you come into this side stretch for the left shoulder. Breathe, chill. I apparently did something to my right quad, so that is where I'm getting the stretch right now. And then coming out of said stretch, uncrossing right foot or ankle if it was crossed, just coming to roll right onto that left side. We've done this before. Bottom arm and bottom leg bent. Right arm and right leg stretch, reach them out if you want to lift and get a little bit of that oblique activation with side core right here. A little bit of a lift. Maybe lift them up again. And then release. Very gentle side stretch. Just breathe into the right side of your body. We won't be here too long, don't worry. Big sigh. And then bend knees. And the arm as well. Offset your knees so the bottom knee comes a little bit closer to you. Top knee is going to come down roughly around the ankle or halfway down the shin. And we'll come up to do that little side stretch that we've done before. Adjust your hips as needed. We know this one. Right hand to the bottom of left foot. I was going to say top, but I was like, what position am I in here? Left arm up. Exhale, a little side bend over to the right. Really breathing into the left hip. It's okay in this one if your right hip isn't quite all the way on the ground because you have a foot underneath your thigh. So it's going to stop you. And that's totally okay. That's not quite the point of the stretch. The point of the stretch is more for this side here. The lower back now. We did upper back before. So now, and upper back and shoulder. Now we're doing lower back. Come out of your side bend, coming into windshield wipers as we transition to the other side. So whichever version you want, if you want just little windshield wipers. Or if you want the big hands-free, super active wipers. The big arms, like swoosh. Swoosh. Fancy, imagine you have streamers in your fingers or like the little symbols, little tappy things. Anyone does belly dancing? Little, those things? I think they're symbols. Okay, and then coming back to lie on right side of my face. Shifting back onto the mat if you're like me and you are gravitating forward. Right arm and right leg this time bent. With grace. Let's not throw ourselves on the mat. Let's try not to. I can't promise anything. All right, stretching left arm and left leg. Again, if you want to hover, you can. You don't have to. If you want to challenge yourself and see if you can lift those limbs up, you can. You don't have to. And then let them settle down. And breathe. Relax the left side of your body. Big inhale in. And sigh. Coming up to do our side stretch on this side. Make sure your right leg is bent a little bit more. Left leg bends in a little less on top. Left hand comes down. Push yourself up. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to be awkward about it. There we go. Adjust your hips as needed. Left hand to the bottom of right foot. Inhale the right hand up. Exhale, side bend over to the left. A little pressure in the foot, a little stretch for the right side, lower back. And unraveling. Come back to a regular seated position. You can totally grab a pillow for the hips if you want. I'm going to. We won't be here for too much longer and we'll end up lying down today. Scooting into your seated position, I'm going to do my cross legs. A little bit more for the wrists, for the arms, for the shoulders. So if you want to come into a position on your knees instead for forearm stretches, if you want to come up and kneel and have a little bit of space between your knees, you can do that as well, especially if you don't have a lot of flexibility in the wrists. I do, so I'm going to start sitting because we're going to end up in sitting afterwards anyway. Hands up, palms facing forward, spread the fingers, turn the palms down so they face towards you, and bring the backs of the hands towards the mat. A little bit of pressure to stretch out the forearm extensors, backs of the forearms here, back of the wrist. You can see why you might want to kneel for this one. I'm good in sitting, but you may not be. So just breathe. Keep your chest lifted. Keep your belly button pulling towards your lower spine. Still with the abs. Yeah. Activating your core is the best thing you can do, in my opinion, for your lower back, your hips, your upper back, your heart, your pelvic floor, your feet. Abs are in the middle of your body. They're very important. Okay, coming out of that stretch. Maybe shake the wrists. Wave them around. And bring the hands up. Palms facing forward. This time rotate. So palms are still facing away from you. Fingers are pointing down. Coming to stretch forearm flexors. The front of the forearms, front of the wrists. Anterior, if you will. Again, lift the chest, breathe. Maybe we'll do a little lion's breath while we're here. So big inhale through the nose. Exhale, open the eyes wide, stick out your tongue. Try and get that breath like you're fogging up a mirror. That kind of feeling. Little constriction at the back of the throat. Big inhale through the nose. Lion's breath. One more, big inhale in. Lion's breath. If you felt any tightness or popping in your jaw, lion's breath is excellent for you. Also, massage. Very gently coming out of that stretch. If you are kneeling, come back to sitting on all fours, on your behind, all fours. Sit on your hips. All two of your hips. Inhale, lift the arms up to a T. Exhale, bring the right hand to your head, left hand to lower back. And this time we are actually going to see if we can get the fingers to touch. If they don't touch, that's okay. We're just going to hang out and breathe here for a little while. Lift your chest. Ground down with all two of your hips. Lift your right elbow as much as you can. Try and drop your left elbow as much as you can. If you have to move and wiggle around a bunch in order to get your hands to touch, it's not worth it. You can absolutely be here if this is the best stretch for you. Just take note of how far you can comfortably get without having to move your spine or head around a lot. And breathe. Round down through the hips again. Lift the crown of the head towards the sky. And unravel. Switch your crossed legs or crossed ankles to the other way. Inhale, lift the arms up to a T. Reach. And we'll go the other way. Exhale, left hand to the back of the head. right hand to your lower back. Left hand palm facing towards you. Right hand palm facing away. Same thing on this side. See how far you can comfortably get, and then just hang out there. Just breathe. Press into your hips to lift your spine and crown of head towards the sky. And don't stress if one side is different than the other. I am not able to get my fingers to touch on this side today. But it doesn't hurt anymore. It used to hurt a lot. I used to have a lot of pain right in the front of the shoulder. I went axe throwing and I did a little tear. So if you have pain in the front of your shoulders and you've had an injury, these are excellent stretches to practice. The more you practice, the more you will likely be able to do them. And we'll unravel the hands. Maybe some shoulder rolls, neck rolls, relieve a little tension. Even if you weren't trying to get tense, it can happen. And before we head down to the mat, we'll warm up our hands for a little jaw stretch, just in case lion's breath was a little much for you, opening the jaw. It can be a lot. Warm up your hands, get the palms of your hands. Inhale in. Exhale, let your jaw relax. Drag it down, drag it open. One more time, rub the hands together. Big inhale in. Exhale, release the jaw. And we'll ditch the hip pillow. Grab the other two pillows if they're still nearby. Hopefully they are. Or, well, if that was like your one pillow. End up with two pillows or two cushions or two blocks if you need them. Coming back to stretch that we have done before, just the relaxing on the back. But we're going to do a little bit of glutes first. So just keep the pillows close where you need them, just off to the side. And come to lie down on your back. Maybe rock. Be a little fall back. The ground's right there. No big deal. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips up, maybe a little bit. Slowly lower one vertebrae back down at a time. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Breathe. Again, if you want to do a static hold here, you can just hold, maybe do some ankle circles if you like, or you can do knee circles, a little bit more mobilization for the hip. It's totally up to you depending on what you need today. You know your body. Bring the right foot, not hand, back down to the mat. I was doing so well. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips. This time, lift them as high up as you can. Oh my God, my quads are really sore. Okay. And then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time back down, keeping that engagement in the glutes until you get all the way down. Try and keep your back relaxed. That's what I get. Okay, left knee in. Same thing on this side. You can do a static hold, maybe some ankle circles. I haven't been for a walk in 2 months, and I went yesterday. Maybe knee circles, mobilize the hips. Did I stretch after my walk? No, I did not. So this is my own fault. Left foot back down to the mat. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. Last time, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips. If you want to, you can absolutely hold here. Hold your bridge for a little while. Maybe get the hands underneath. Clasp the hands. Really press shoulders down into the mat. Release the hands if they were clasped. Slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. Keep your back relaxed. This is all coming from the glutes. This is all coming from your butt. Called glute bridge for a reason. And breathe. And then we'll grab our pillows, bringing them to either side of the knees. We did this one before. Just a little refresher, you can tuck the pillows in close. Make sure you walk your feet out as far as you need to. So this is totally up to you, depending on your personal anatomy. Maybe you want your feet really close. Maybe you want them a little bit further out. Further out's a little bit easier for most people. And then bring the bottoms of the feet together. Drop your knees open like a book. Hands, I will recommend putting them in your lower, on your lower abdomen. No need to cut yourself open and dive inside today. Especially if you don't have like a team of surgeons, anesthesiologists with you, just below the belly button. Just try and bring all of your air towards your hands. Again, in this position, you should not actually feel the stretch in the inner thighs. If you're feeling the stretch in the inner thighs, fluff up your couch cushions, get some extra cushion, really tug them in. So like almost underneath the hips, really fluffy. And then relax. Or you can grab some extra towels and use the towels for padding, a sweater, whatever it is. Preferably the same thing on either side. Unless you're a little naturally uneven, in which case you might need to pad one side more than the other. And here we'll just breathe. Still for the last couple of breaths, finding that core contraction at the end of your exhale. Really driving the belly button down towards the ground. So you're still going to feel your lower back coming flush towards the mat. You might feel a lot in the hips here. If you feel pain, don't worry about it. But you might feel a little bit of a sensation as your pelvis tilts to get your lower back flush to the mat and then releases. So you might feel a little tight in the hips here. You might feel warmth. You might feel cold. Whatever your nerves and your body are doing here, just find that ab activation. And let it release as you inhale. You remember the pelvic floor breathing from last class? You can absolutely do that. But no need. A few more breaths here. And if you really like this breathing, you can keep breathing for another minute or two. Or you can start to relax, let yourself breathe naturally. Bring your hands, palms facing up. They can be on top of the hips or next to your sides. I'm just coming to relax for a moment. Let all the tension go. You can stay here breathing or just relax as long as you like. Stay very, very hydrated. Thank you for practicing with me today, and I'll see you next week.